I'm really excited.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
Okay, great stuff. Let me start with you, Tsholofelo. Talk to me about the research itself, and also, or rather, before I even come to the research, I just want to understand your field of study. You guys are psychology students, right? And I understand that you are master's students at Wits. Am I correct?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, so we're both studying particularly educational psychology, which is just a specialization in psychology, particularly focusing on children or young people.
Lovely. Are you guys dealing with any maybe organization that is specifically dealing with kids outside of just the this research part?
So it depends. I mean, different. Well, with community, it's just the four of us, and then it depends which one in our class members work with which organization. I'm not sure if I can mention all the organizations, but it's just basically doing therapy and child work in those organizations.
Ah, lovely. Listen, let's talk about the research. Let's talk about the research. And I think I'm going to be throwing around questions between the two of you because our third guest was supposed to be actually with us, representing, obviously, the organization COPESA, in particular for the one that, of course, is situated in Protea Glen, is not able to join us, but we're going to make some time. We're going to find out how best can we, incorporate her in this conversation, if not, today. So, look, let's talk about the research itself. What really compelled you guys to jump in on that, and also what was the research, objective? Let me come to you, Jenna.
Okay, well, I think as educational psychologists, we're trained to work holistically. So that means we never work with a child in isolation. So we look at working with their parents, we look at working with their schools, with their communities. So that's really where the stems from, to do community work, because we have to all work together for the betterment of our children. And so, with our research, the main focus was trying to understand the perspectives and the experiences of the youth in Protea Glen.
Aha, that is lovely. And, that for me, it means that, you guys dedicated time, and it was not necessarily a once-off thing. It means that you had to travel in and around, Protea Glen from time to time. Am I correct?
Yes, we dedicate 1 day a week at least to community work, and through that we explored the community, we had some conversations and interactions and all of that.
Uh-huh. And how long did it take you guys? Like, how often did you, like, you're saying you're traveling, maybe you're coming to Protect Land once a week, but I'm trying to understand, like, the duration of the whole process. Like, how many times did you get to, continuously, or rather constantly, revisit Protect Land?
I understand. Well, we officially started the work in around June or towards the end of May. And then, given our timeline, we're ending now in September.
Okay, great stuff. And Tsholofelo, let me then come to you. So I want to understand, because Sinaw is not here and was supposed to actually join us to answer this. I wanted to understand, how then did you, as educational psychology master's students, get to collaborate, or rather partner with COPESA, or are you guys members of COPESA? What is the role of COPESA in this whole initiative?
So I think before you work with any community, it's important to collaborate with various stakeholders. So I think Wits has had a relationship, I think it's 2 or 3 years, with Copesa already. So we were just basically joining or being part of that relationship.
Okay, great stuff. Okay, great stuff. Let's dive deep into the research itself, and I want to find out, what did you guys, what was your findings? And before I even jump into that, I want to understand which methodology or rather approach did you guys use specifically? I want to understand, was it like a qualitative research, a quantitative research? How was it?
So we were basically we used the qualitative approach, basically because it allows us to get a better understanding of people's experiences and their perception of the community. So what we did was we had a large banner where we put questions that we addressed to young people, and just allowing people to share their answers or their experiences on that banner, where they could see also other people's responses. It allowed like a certain level of transparency and sort of a non-threatening environment. You know, during our data collection, one would see another answer, for example, and would say, oh, I didn't know that some other people feel the same way, you know, which is what we were thriving for, just to have like a safe space where people can anonymously just share their experiences or thoughts on the community.
Great stuff. Thank you so much. I mean, I really appreciate your effort there. I mean, I was there at the Youth to Power campaign, and you guys were also, available there. And kudos to all other members of your team as well, because I understand it was not only the two of you, but instead you are the ones that, of course, are representing the entire team. So thank you so much for taking time and also, dedicating time and effort to, researching about this matters. But let's go into the findings. Then, when you analyze the data that you found, when you analyze the findings, the information, you're speaking about the banner that was extended to the community to actually write or rather express their problems, their challenges that they face within the community. After collecting all of the data and analyzing it, and I'm coming to you, Jenna, to say what is it then that you make up of these findings?
I think after doing an analysis of the data, which was a collaborative effort with COPESA, it was interesting to see how people know the solution to their perceived problems. So, for example, one of our questions asked, what do you think the biggest problem is? And the youth would list their problems, but then they would come up with solutions. For example, sports academy should be constructed because this could mitigate, crime, or could mitigate the use of drugs. So it was interesting to see how much potential is in the youth and how they have that level of creativity. And I think we need to tap into that creativity and the potential of the youth for problem solving.
I mean, you are saying you also found out that at large that most of the problems that were highlighted, the people themselves already had the solutions, or rather already knew possible solutions to those challenges. My question then is, what then prevents them or continuously prevents them to actually implement those solutions?
Oh, that's a very good question. It's quite tricky to answer, actually. I think it's just that there's so much red tape when trying to do anything, and resources are also very limited. So you have to learn to work creatively with what there is. So the ideas are there. It's just a matter of now brainstorming of how to put that to use.
Did you guys perhaps maybe during your process of researching about this whole subject, did you guys come across like any stumbling blocks? You speak about red tapes, and I understand you are referring to the solution in terms of like the implementation of it, but you partaking in this research, you are also part of the solution. So I just want to understand, working with the community, Tsholofelo, you spoke about, it is important to actually try and work with a certain organization that is already doing the work within the community, which I think is really smart. Did you found any stumbling blocks? Did you find any barriers that were perhaps maybe blocking you to actually, progress with your research?
I think in a context such as South Africa, there's so many limited resources. But I think our approach, even with this research, was to do PAR, which is participatory action research. A lot of times, even though the youth knows their solutions, they're not given the opportunity or a safe space where they can express this. People come into the community and say, okay, for example, I'm just going to make an example that, okay, the problem in this community is drugs. And then the next thing that we're going to do is, for example, take them to rehabilitation, which is not in essence what really solves the problem. So I don't know if you understand where I'm getting to, but PAR basically focuses on allowing people to be able to solve their own problems. And with most community work or the projects that are being done, experts or people in power, for example, they come in and they already have their fixed ideas of how they think they can solve the problems, when in essence that's not what the community feels. If that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. I mean, 100%. And I totally concur with it, Tsholofelo, because I think there's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes to challenging some of the problems that, of course, are faced by the people within the townships and local communities. The people from I don't want to call them from the top level, but they are from the top level either way. So those people that are coming up with these solutions, they are really far from the reality of those people. And even when they come up with solutions, it's really solutions that, of course, are not in touch with the reality of those people. So I think I'm getting your point really, really, really well. So look, thank you so much for those findings. I mean, is there anything that perhaps maybe that Jenna, you want to add on top of the findings that, of course, you guys gathered on this research?
I'm just thinking, Tsholofelo did up so beautifully there that I don't think I have anything to add.
Okay, great stuff. Tsholofelo, I want to move to the next question. I don't know if you have anything more to say.
No, we can move on. Thank you.
Okay, great stuff. So, look, now that you got the findings, I mean, it's nice you know that there's so much red tape. You know that the people have the ideas, have the ambition, and they are ready. Some of them, they are ready to actually take action, but there is a stumbling block, which is basically summing up your findings. I want to find out from you to say what is the next step then? Like what are you guys going to do with the data that you found? Are you sending it to a certain institution? Are you working on a certain initiative by yourselves? Are you writing proposals to certain organizations to start working on certain initiatives? Or was it just one of those researches,
Yeah, so the next goal, because the data's already been shared, now it's to share it to the wider public, because that's also part of collaborative work, is that everyone has access to the information. But I think the next step is to go a little bit deeper and explore the youth's experiences on a much deeper level, whether that be through focus group discussions with various stakeholders within the community, so your local entrepreneur, your high school students, getting different perspectives and going more in depth with how they view the community.
I'm speaking to Jenna Fernandes and also Tsholofelo Rampai. They are registered master's students at University of Wits. They are educational psychology students, and we're speaking about that research that, of course, they participated in. We want to find out what did they found, and also what is the next step with the data that they collected. Thank you so much, Jenna. And if, of course, you want to join this conversation, 0612587338. Send me a voice note. Send me any question that you think maybe perhaps they might be able to answer, or rather give you more clarity about this subject matter. Look, before I let you guys go, I want to ask, right? So you're speaking about the data being shared to the public. I want to find out where can what is your communication plan, and how are you going to communicate? How are you going to send this data, or rather, how are you going to display this data and make sure that the public has access to it? Like maybe your channels of communication. That's where I'm really trying to touch.
So thankfully, Elvis, you've given us the platform for one.
Is it?
But we are writing, we are writing like a report which we're taking back to COPESA. And hopefully we can work with them to find out how the data can be shared. But I think most of the themes that came up from the data, it's challenges that most South Africans are faced with. And I think the most important thing that can be taken away is the principles of PAR, or collaborative work, where maybe hopefully at some point we'll get to a point where even the experts, they learn how to work in collaboration with the community members rather than impose their whole ideas, which was basically what we were sort of trying to bring with this sort of method of data collection. Just those principles of working with the community rather than on them or imposing things on them. So we're hoping that moving forward, even projects that will be developed in and around Protea, they will use or utilize sort of those principles, basically. Yeah.
Great stuff. Tsholofelo Rampai, Jenna Fernandes, we're speaking about that research that they participated in for specifically the community of Protea Glen. And I understand Protea Glen is a big community, by the way. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate your time and effort. Are you guys working with any other communities right now, or rather in future? Are you planning to work with other communities? Because I think you're doing a great work. It will be nice to actually also do this for other communities as well.
Thank you so much for having us on the show and letting us share our findings with you. I'm very interested in continuing community work. It's just
Okay, great stuff. Thank you so much. I hope that, with some of the work that you guys are going to be doing, we're going to continuously, utilize this platform to share to the public and also to speak to the public about the great work that you do. Right now, of course, it's 24 minutes after 4 p.m. and that's how we wrap up that conversation. And as you know, the second hour of the show really looks at conversations that matter and tirelessly asking questions that many are afraid to ask. When we come back, I'll be giving you more about your traffic and also some of the updates that are happening in the road. You can text me on 0612587338. If, of course, you're driving around Johannesburg, Soweto, and Protea Glen, you can let me know what are some of the things that are happening in the road there. My name is Elvis Molefi Molf.
Afternoon, Glen Drive listeners. My name is Zanele Silimele. I'm listening to Glen Radio from Protea Glen Extension 22. I would like to say thank you, my brother, for bringing us such an amazing show. Great music, my brother. Yay, you playing like such a wonderful music. And we also appreciate the conversation that you bring on radio. As society, there are topics that we always avoid. And we are very grateful to have you talking about the topics that matters, the topics that people, they are afraid to discuss, especially in our days. People are avoiding a lot of things that are going through, which you always bringing people that are going to help other people so that they can have such topics and participate on them. We appreciate you, man. I would love to invite other people to tune in, man. Every Monday to Friday from 3 to 6. Elvis is on radio. Glen Radio. Cheers, guys.
Yeah, it's been a journey.
Okay, great stuff. Let me start with you, Tsholofelo. Talk to me about the research itself, and also, or rather, before I even come to the research, I just want to understand your field of study. You guys are psychology students, right? And I understand that you are master's students at Wits. Am I correct?
Yes, that is correct. Yeah, so we're both studying particularly educational psychology, which is just a specialization in psychology, particularly focusing on children or young people.
Lovely. Are you guys dealing with any maybe organization that is specifically dealing with kids outside of just this research part?
So it depends. I mean, different. Well, with community, it's just the four of us, and then it depends which one in our class members work with which organization. I'm not sure if I can mention all the organizations, but it's just basically doing therapy and child work in those organizations.
Ah, lovely. Listen, let's talk about the research. Let's talk about the research, and I think I'm going to be throwing around